anything you want in your intent. You can say, I'm setting my intent to relax. I'm setting my intent to just take this 10 or 15 minutes for me tonight. Maybe I'm setting my intent to fill up my cup. So first, just start with purposely paying attention to your breath. So as you breathe in, noticing that your body expands. And then as you breathe out, noticing that breath leaving, or you can notice the body contracting. So we're just going to spend a couple moments with you purposely breathing, watching your breath come in, watching your breath come out. And again, remind yourself, it is completely natural and normal that your mind might wander, that your mind might go to the future or to the past. But just welcome yourself back to the present moment, breathing in. And again, as you breathe in, noticing the breath coming in or noticing the body rising. And then as you breathe out, noticing the body softening. And I want you to ask yourself, before we enter into the body scan, ask yourself, how am I doing right now? So when I ask that question to myself, I feel relaxed. I'm in a fairly relaxed position. I'm feeling comfortable in this moment. Maybe for you, you feel bored, or maybe you feel at peace. Maybe you feel a sense of calm or nervousness. Again, whatever is there, we are not trying to change it. We are allowing ourselves to fully experience whatever's here. And if you find your mind is going off, maybe onto a story or where you want this meditation to go or not go, again, we just label that as thought or thinking. And if you want, you can purposely breathe in to bring yourself back and then breathe out to bring yourself back into this moment. And we're just going to start by purposely paying attention to our forehead. So in this meditation, I like to imagine that there's a spotlight, and that spotlight is my awareness. And right now, I'm purposely paying attention to my forehead. And maybe this is the first time in your adult life you've ever done this. It's quite possible. Bring this awareness to your forehead. If you need to, you can kind of move it around and wrinkle it as much as you can to kind of actually bring awareness to it physically, if this is foreign for you. And if not, just bring awareness to your forehead. And just give yourself permission to let your forehead relax or soften. And then you can bring that awareness now into your eyes. And you can allow your eyes to relax and soften. And then bring that awareness now into the cheeks. And allowing your cheeks just to relax or to just let go. And again, no matter how many times your mind wanders off into the past or future, we're purposely going to bring our awareness back and allow our cheeks and now our mouth and our jaw to soften. Even just gently letting your jaw drop, or like a forced yawn, even just to kind of stretch it out. And just letting your face now relax. And again, it doesn't matter. Maybe your mind goes off to the future. Maybe your mind goes off to the past. We're just going to welcome our awareness back and now allow our neck and shoulders to relax. And maybe if you're like, Mike, I can't let it relax, it's kind of tight, that's okay. Whatever your experience is, we are allowing it to be there. So if you want to drop through your shoulders, or maybe you feel like you need a little neck side to side, back and forth, again, I'm just suggesting some things. Whatever resonates with you, you can do. But right now I'm focusing on my awareness on my neck and shoulders. And I just feel like I needed to just kind of move my neck side to side. And as you're doing that, if you're doing that, you can just kind of pay attention to what that feels like. Or if you'd rather just stay still and pay attention to your posture or your shoulders, then allow that to happen. And now we're bringing the spotlight down into our arms, into our biceps, into our elbows, into our forearms, all the way down to your fingertips. So now you're purposely being aware of your arms all the way down to your fingertips. And you're just letting that go. Letting what go? Just letting your awareness go into your body. And again, when your mind goes off, I just sort of train. So my mind went to train, then back to you guys. And I thought, oh, back to my meditation, back to my arms. I'm focusing on my arms, and particularly my mind is going to my fingertips. So I'm just noticing my fingertips. And now allow yourself to bring your awareness now back to your upper back. So you can kind of look in between your shoulder blades, your shoulders. Again, you can kind of make them roll if you want, just to kind of, if this is new to you, you can purposely kind of move that part of your body just to have your mind focus on it. And then you can bring that awareness now into your mid back, right into your mid back. And then we can let that awareness now go down into the lower back. So now you're aware of your entire back sitting or resting. So again, for me, for whatever reason, when I'm bringing my awareness to my back, I'm really focused on kind of like my mid back. That's where my mind goes to. So I'm just letting it be there. So now you're purposely paying attention to your mid back. You're just being aware of what it's like for you to be sitting or resting right now. And now very gently shifting this awareness now to your chest. So you can just bring awareness into your chest or your heart center. Or in this instance, you can notice that as you breathe in, you can notice the rise of your chest and then the gentle fall. But once again, it does not matter how many times your mind wanders off, where it goes to. You are purposely just bringing and welcoming your awareness back into your chest. And again, the mind might wander off and go to the past or future. Maybe you're noticing resistance or boredom. But again, we're just going to notice that and bring our awareness back into our chest. And then allowing that same awareness now to go into your stomach. So as you breathe in, again, maybe noticing the slight change in your stomach. And as you breathe out, you also might notice that often people, when they bring awareness to their stomach, they have judgments on that, or they don't like this part of their body. And again, we're holding all of that in awareness. Like I noticing when I brought my awareness there, I feel particularly full. So I'm like, whoa, okay, this is different than how I feel in the morning when I do this. So again, we're not judging ourselves. I'm not name calling. And if I do name call or say something negative, I note that as a judgment and I come back to purposely watching my stomach, the rise and the fall or the expansion, the contraction that happens with it. And now we're bringing that awareness now into our sitting bones. So make contact with awareness of what's making contact with your chair, or if you're lying down or your yoga mat or your couch, you're bringing awareness. And now allow that awareness now to go into your legs. So first, usually starting at the thigh or the hamstrings below, down into the knees, and down all the way the calves and shin into the soles of the feet. So for me, I'm sitting cross-legged. It's a little easier if your feet are planted on the ground, to be honest, or if you're lying down straight. It's a little easier to kind of bring that awareness because I'm kind of losing the awareness in how my feet are crossing. So then I go to the soles of my feet or I wiggle my toes. And again, if you're finding this challenging or hard, that's totally fine. We're not trying to master this meditation tonight. We are purposely using our body as our focal point. That's our anchor. And then a couple more moments of I want you to zoom out and look at your entire body sitting or resting where you are now. So now we're having this zoom out quality, and we're just looking at what's present here. We're looking at our entire body sitting and resting. And now I want you to ask yourself the same question. How am I doing right now? And it doesn't have to be a positive answer, a negative answer. It can be even a neutral answer. But just ask yourself, how are you doing right now? After taking roughly about 15 minutes to do a body scan and to connect, and just ending this practice with now you purposely being aware of your body and breathing. So you can notice your body's reaction to the breath. So as you breathe in, again, you can notice your body expanding, contracting. Or if you're more comfortable, just purposely breathing in for that count of 3, 4, 5. And then back out for that count of 3, 4, 5. Again, watching that rise and then that fall of the breath or body. Again, nowhere to go, nothing to do, except to come back to the present moment. And now, if you're comfortable with this, I would highly suggest you put your hand over your heart center, around your chest, whatever feels comfortable for you. So for me, I naturally go right hand in the middle. Sometimes I go right and then my left, but usually this just feels good for me. So I want you now just to kind of water the seed that we've planted today of allowing our body to relax, giving it permission to relax. And I want you just to spend this moment to think how you do love and care for your own well-being. I want you just to spend these next couple moments looking at how you do love and cherish yourself. You're probably continuing to show up on your busy night or during your busy week to take a break and to spend 20 or 30 minutes on this practice of self-care for a reason. And I think that has a lot of courage in it. And it's hard, and most people don't make time for themselves. So I want you just to first thank yourself for doing this work for you and by you. And then all we're going to do is as we breathe in, we're just going to say to ourselves, I love myself, I love myself, I love myself. And then as we breathe out, you say to yourself gently, I love myself, I love myself, I love myself. And then as we breathe in, I love myself, I love myself, I love myself. And then as we breathe out, I love myself, I love myself, I love myself. And of course, you might have judgments about this, or it might feel false or fake, or maybe it feels too fluffy. Again, we're going to notice that as judgment. We're purposely going to breathe in with I love myself, I love myself, I love myself. And we're going to exit with the same. If you find that that feels false or fake, again, it's totally fine. You can purposely just breathe in through that nose for that count of 3 to 5. And then as you breathe out, focusing on that breath, leaving out. But realizing that you are filling up your cup right now, that you're doing this work for you and by you. And again, noticing where the mind might wander to, and just coming back to your breath as you breathe in, noting that you love yourself. Again, saying on repeat, love myself, love myself, love myself. As you breathe out, same thing. Love myself, love myself, love myself. And it doesn't matter, your mind might go to sound, or might go to thought, coming back, welcome yourself back. And now when you're ready, very slowly and very gently, allowing your eyes to open as you bring back this sense that you just cultivated. Okay, so first of all, congrats, because that was a 20-minute practice. That is no joke. So if you are still here and you didn't leave, give yourself one of those, all right? Because that's legit. If you were able to do the practice, and I didn't say, are you able to do it amazing? Are you the best ever at it? Not talking about that. If you were able to notice that your mind goes off and goes, what? How do we pay attention to our forehead? Oh, thought, come back. And maybe by the time you came back, you're coming back to your shoulders and you missed all of this. That's okay. Do you know how many meditations I've done in my day where I know it's a body scan and we start here? Sometimes we start at our feet, and I'm like halfway down the body, still thinking about something I was thinking about in my head. It happens all the time. But your ability to notice thoughts and come back to what is present is the game changer. Why? So if Melinda and I are talking and I'm like, okay, cool. Oh, I love Tobermory too. And I start thinking about other stuff, I can catch myself at some point and come back to what's happening now. Why else is that important? Well, when I go to bed and my mind's like, what about this? Like I have 13 webinars this week. Okay. And a lot of them are for healthcare providers. So I'm talking to a lot of doctors and nurses who don't know me. And I'm thinking, well, I hope this goes well. And I hope they like who they hired because I'm a different deck. So then as I prep for it, the night before, my mind's like, do. And usually it's about how can I get back, or usually when my mind goes to all the prep mode, it's trying to prepare me for something. But when I get stuck in what might happen or could happen, that can create unnecessary anxiety. So what I do is I say, okay, that's a thought, back to here. And if you can start planting and watering the seed of I love myself, you don't have to do a formal practice of I love myself, I love myself, I love myself, right? You can do it when you're brushing your teeth. I usually do it when I walk up and down the stairs because that's like, I'll have to get something for my kids. I'm like, ugh. I'm like, it's only, I don't know, 12 steps or something, but I get annoyed at every step when I'm like, you go down and do it. I don't know where it is. So I'm like, okay. So I'll be like, I love myself all the way down. I'll say it all the way back up. Look at intertwining stuff you're already doing in your life with this practice, right? If you've made it this far with me, it means that you have some sort of practice. You're doing something, okay? So you can start to use this informally, right? If you're really interested in the meditation we did today for a sleep aid or just your basic meditation, you can use the body scan any time of the day. Now, I highly suggest if it's your practice that you wake up to, which is what it used to be for me. So I would wake up at whatever time, I would put it on and I would do it, right? Set a secondary alarm, because if you're lying down and you're doing this meditation, your body might go back to sleep. All right. That's a very common occurrence. Now, that's no problem if you're going to sleep for the night, but if you're going to sleep after you wake up to go to work, don't blame Mindful Mike. Okay. And one agency I work with, they try to use that as an excuse. Like, well, he told us to do it in the morning. It's like, yeah, I also told you to set a secondary alarm. Just like when I was working with a big company and their lawyer was there for my talk, and she goes, you should tell people when you say and suggest to use your meditations when they're driving that they're doing it with their eyes open. I was like, oh, okay. I thought that was inferred, but I guess so. If you ever dream of meditations, anybody on your drive to work, do that. Okay. Please make sure you're not like, okay, Mindful Mike told me this, I guess we'll be good. Right. Let's look at how we can actually use this practice in real life, please. So the homework this week is very simple in theory. It's the idea of loving yourself. Okay. What I would love is for everybody to ask themselves at least once a day, how am I doing? How am I doing today? Because I ask people that I don't even care about, right? Someone at Walmart, oh, good. How are you doing today? And they're always like, oh, good, thanks. Or when Roger calls me, or not Roger a person, but when Rogers, the company, I talk to them, I'm always like, oh, how are you doing? And they're like, oh, good, thanks. But ask yourself that. Because maybe your answer is like, let's say Melinda goes to herself, hey, how am I doing? She goes, kind of a rough one today. There's nothing wrong with that, right? It's like if my kids come home from school and I always say to them, hey, what's the good, bad, and ugly? Right? So then they give me the good, bad, and the ugly every day, or we do like an apple, onion, orange thing. And I started thinking, like, I ask them every day, multiple times. I ask my wife every day, how's it going? How was your work day? And I was never doing that until I started getting to the practice of self-care. And I was in the meditation game already for like 10 years. It wasn't until the last couple of years that I really started asking myself, hey, how are you doing? When I have a difficult conversation with a client, maybe because they're experiencing a death and dying situation, as soon as I hang up the phone from them or get off the webinar, I'll ask myself, like, how are you doing? Well, it was pretty heavy today. That was really hard on me. There's nothing wrong with acknowledging that, people. Before, I used to like put so much pride in, like, oh, I'm a social worker. Like, I've dealt with the most at-risk kids. I've seen the most hardcore stuff. Nothing gets to me. I'm a human. Of course it does. Right? There's nothing wrong with just saying, hey, that was really hard on me. Okay. And I really hope that if you listen to anything I say in 8 weeks, that's like the number one thing you take from this is ask yourself, like, how am I doing? Because I think it's incredibly hard when you're serving people and you're working with people and supporting people. And then you go home and you probably do it with your family and your friends, that if you're not filling up your cup and asking yourself that same thing, it's really hard to give that on a constant basis. Okay. So please try that this week. I don't usually beg people to try stuff. It's not really how I work, but in the work that you do and you made it this far, I really suggest that you ask yourself, how am I doing? And don't be mad if the answer is like, meh. Don't be mad if the answer is like, okay. It doesn't always have to be great, right? I don't expect every day I ask my kids, how's your day? Awesome. Best day ever. It's like, okay. So every day keeps going like this forever until you're dead? Not my experience, right? So be kind to yourself. Ask yourself that. The homework's pretty well, simple in theory. Again, most things I teach are simple in theory. But again, if there's any questions or comments, please keep them coming. I love the suggestions that I get. Like, hey, Mike, do you mind if we start with a longer meditation? Or, do you mind if we do this? I'm happy. I want those comments because I like to kind of shape the talks to that. Okay. So thank you all for the work that you do. Thanks for, again, the love and keep showing up. I really appreciate it. And most importantly, thanks for you doing this work for you. Okay. So if there's any questions, comments, concerns, we can take them now. I'm not even sure how long I went. 27 minutes. That's pretty good for me. So we did a long practice. I'm like, that's the meditation geek in me is like super fired up because you did 20-minute practice. So congrats. That's a real breakthrough. Even if it felt like it was 2 hours, it's okay. Right? Cool. I don't see any questions in the chat, so that's all good. If those who are already direct messaging me or emailing me, keep it coming. Anyone that new wants to do that, keep it up. Okay. Love it. Thank you, Nancy. Loved it. Well, I love that you're here. So it makes my job even better. All right.
Okay. Thanks,
Thanks, everybody. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Peace and love.